How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're looking at some real historical mysteries that can't quite be explained. So hit that subscribe button and get ready for more creepy content, just like this. In April of 1964 in Socorro, New Mexico, something strange happened in the desert that has continued to baffle historians for decades. It was around 5:45 p.m. on April 24 when police officer Lonnie Zamora was in pursuit of a speeding vehicle south of Socorro. Suddenly, he heard a loud roar accompanied by a flame in the sky about a mile away from the road his car was speeding down. Police radio dispatcher Nep Lopez received a call from Zamora asking him to look out the window to see if he could see anything flying in the sky. Lopez asked Zamora to describe what he was seeing. His reply was that it looked almost like a balloon. Zamora asked for backup to meet him right away. When Officer Zamora heard the boom, his first instinct was that the local dynamite shack had exploded. He stopped chasing the car he'd been pursuing to divert his attention to tracking down the explosion. As he headed towards the dynamite shack, Zamora saw a shiny object about 200 yards ahead. While his first impression was that the object was an overturned vehicle that had been propped up on something, this impression didn't last long. Zamora also observed two people clothed in white coveralls standing next to the object. He could also see that the shiny object was being held up by some kind of O-shaped apparatus. Zamora didn't get much of a chance to assess the scene before he heard a thunderous roar that conjured up a blue-orange flame under the suspended shiny object. The mystery object rose into the air before disappearing. When Sergeant Chavez arrived as backup, Zamora guided him towards an area of smouldering brush and grass near the road that had caught fire. Nearly 60 years later, nobody's sure what Zamora actually saw out there by the side of the road in New Mexico. The one thing that is certain is that Zamora's experience is one of the most credible UFO stories in history. Several theories have circulated in the decades since that day. Many people believe that Zamora had an encounter with an alien craft. Others are certain he caught a glimpse of some top-secret testing done by the nearby White Sands missile range. For others, this is clearly a prank done by some tech students attending nearby New Mexico Tech. Even the college's president thought it may have been some mischievous kids up to no good. Others have floated around the idea that the fiery image was actually just a mirage from a star called Canopus. In recent years, the people of Socorro have fully embraced the fanfare of this alleged UFO encounter. In fact, a special walkway with wooden benches was erected to make the landing site accessible to tourists. Recently, the town even erected a mural to commemorate the sighting. The only person who wasn't interested in the fanfare was Lonnie Zamora himself. Zamora was so tired of talking about the incident that he retreated to a quiet life as a gas station attendant. After spending a life avoiding UFO enthusiasts and their questions, Zamora passed away from natural causes in 2009. Positioned just off West Africa, the Canary Islands of Spain are known for their exotic beauty. People from around the world come to splash in warm waves beside dormant volcanoes in this luxury slice of heaven. As the largest island in the Canary Islands, Tenerife is best known for its beautiful festivals with ornate costumes and vibrant music. However, Tenerife has a darker side that you won't see if you stay at your resort. Barranco de Barrios is a ravine located just past the Canary Islands pyramids in Guimar. The area has a reputation for paranormal activity. In fact, many people who visit the ravine return with bizarre lights and figures captured in photographs. Among the sightings reported here are strange balls of light, bizarre orbs, creepy beings, loud voices, winged creatures, angelic beings, and UFOs. The most famous legend of all associated with this rocky remote area is an incident called the Girl with the Pears. According to this legend, a young local girl was sent by her parents to go pluck fruit from the trees at the ravine at some point around the late 1800s. When the girl never returned, all searches for her came up empty. However, the girl did eventually return on her own. Where the story gets stranger is that the girl didn't show up until decades later. In addition to being the exact same age she was when she disappeared, the girl also believed she had only been gone for a few hours. The lost time element of this story is a telltale sign of UFO abduction for many enthusiasts. In some accounts of the story, the girl shared that she had spent time with strange beings in a cave during her time away before being deposited back to the ravine. In 1912, 2 miners claimed to have seen strange white beings in one of the caves near where they had been operating. The workers were so shocked by the encounter they fled and reported what had happened to the Civil Guard headquarters in Guamar. While stories go back decades, it wasn't until July of 1991 that the paranormal happenings at Barranco de Barrios gained some real traction. On the night of July 1st, a photographer named Teo Bermeo was exploring the ravine with a group of people when he managed to take a photograph of an object that was allegedly fluttering around him. While the image is blurry, you can make out several streaks of light. The images have been studied by photography experts who have deduced that the photos haven't been tampered with in any way. However, they're at a loss to explain what's been captured. Interestingly, even historians and archaeologists agree that this is a significant site. Several mummies belonging to the Guanche tribe that inhabited Tenerife before the arrival of the Spaniards during the 15th century have been found in the lands surrounding the ravine. In 1991, a mysterious bronze handle was discovered in one of the caves. The handle depicts a winged humanoid with its arms reaching upwards. Many historians believe that the artifact was left behind by the Nazis, who were known to be searching the caves during World War II. Throughout the late 1930s and early 1940s, the Nazi Party deployed archaeologists around the world to look for relics rumoured to wield supernatural powers. History professor Eric Kurlander from Stetson University believes that the Nazi Party were obsessed with what is known as the supernatural imaginary. Things like the Holy Grail, anti-gravity machines, witchcraft, and world ice theory were all researched with intense curiosity and belief. Many people believe the bronze handle found in the caves of Barranco de Barrios depict the mysterious beings that locals have been reporting for centuries. So what exactly is going on in this mysterious ravine in the Canary Islands? Is it all just something dreamt up out of Indiana Jones's diary, or is there really something supernatural happening in Barranco de Barrios? It was just after sunset on a summer night in 1952 when 2 commercial airline pilots manning a Pan American World Airways route from New York to Miami saw something that still can't be explained. On July 14, First Officer William B. Nash and Second Officer William H. Fortenberry could still see the coastline as they cruised over the Chesapeake Bay, with plans to make a position report. As the city of Newport News passed under them, the pilots saw a radiant red-orange light covering the ground. This was followed by a series of 6 illuminated objects with rounded forms speeding towards the plane. The pilots reported that the lights were brighter than any city lights that could be seen from the plane. As the pilots watched the lights, the objects created a narrow echelon formation in the sky. In a dazzling display, the objects all switched to a vertical plane before zipping off in a southward direction. Having served in the Navy, Nash and Fortenberry both possessed extensive knowledge on aircraft identification. However, the only description that the pair could provide when calling in the sighting to the folks at Norfolk from their cockpit was that they were encountering flying saucers. The pair also noted that the intentional movements of the craft made it obvious that these saucers were being piloted by something with intelligence. The next day, Air Force investigators summoned Nash and Fortenberry. The 2 were interviewed in separate rooms for more than an hour. Using reenactments, the pilots confirmed that the aircraft would have had to have travelled at 200 miles per minute to be able to cover the distances that the pilots observed. Interestingly, several reports of local residents seeing mysterious sources in the sky on the evening of July 14 appeared in Norfolk newspapers in the days that followed. While credible reports of a sky formation from 2 pilots would point straight to UFOs, skeptics have other ideas. One theory is that the lights were caused by a beacon or searchlight off the coast of Virginia. Others believe that the stars simply aligned just perfectly for the pilots to encounter a mirage of Venus. There's even a theory that the pilots were simply seeing fireflies trapped inside the glass of the cockpit window. However, given the extensive training and specialised skills that both Nash and Fortenberry possessed, it's hard to think that they would both misidentify fireflies or a sighting of Venus in the sky. For decades, this encounter has continued to puzzle and intrigue anyone who researches it. Ultimately, however, what actually happened in the skies over Virginia on the 14th of July 1952 remains a complete mystery. Before we take a look at the legend of Jay's grave, remember to hit that subscribe button, then tickle that little bell icon there and turn on all channel notifications. That way you'll be in the loop every time we drop our scary and mysterious videos.
Please, someone help. It keeps me in the basement and forces me to do these voiceovers.
If you ever find yourself trekking through the United Kingdom in search of strange places with curious pasts, mark a spot called Jay's Grave tucked away in Dartmoor on your map. The subject of local folklore, Jay's Grave, is something you'd probably pass by without giving anything a second glance if you didn't know the legend. In fact, what your eyes are looking for is nothing more than a small burial ground about 1 mile west of Hound Tor. You'll know you've arrived at the place when you see fresh cut flowers resting on the grave. While nobody's ever taken credit for the flowers, they're always there. So who does this makeshift grave belong to? Locals believe it's the final resting place of a girl named Kitty Jay, a poor farmhand in the late 18th century. After becoming pregnant to the farmer's son, Kitty was outcast and ridiculed by the local town for being promiscuous. The pregnant teen gave birth and left the child on the steps of an orphanage. She later committed suicide. Her body was found hanging in a barn. Local authorities wouldn't allow Kitty to have a Christian burial due to the fact that she had died by suicide. They instead buried her on a tract of land beside an intersection on a quiet road. The burial site fell into relative obscurity. However, locals began noticing that the plot always had fresh-cut flowers adorning the grave. Come rain, hail or shine, there was always a bright, fresh bunch of flowers despite no one admitting to putting them there. In addition to the perpetual floral offerings, the spot that's become known as Jay's Grave is now a hotbed for bizarre sightings. Tourists often see what appears to be a teen girl wrapped in a black cloak. Others spot a ghostly image that's said to be the son of the farmer who banished Kitty after she became pregnant. Some have even reported crying sounds in the open fields. Even today, bunches of flowers appear without reason. Locals believe it's become something of a self-fulfilling prophecy. As the legend continues to be told, locals sneak up and place flowers on the grave to keep the tale alive. But as for the mysterious apparitions that have been spotted lingering near the grave, their true origins remain unknown. Now, if you want some more freaky paranormal mysteries, then check out that link on the top there. Otherwise, we have a massive scary playlist right there that'll keep you entertained for hours and hours. Let us know in the comments section below which one of these clips you thought was the weirdest or scariest. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.